unapologetic, unadulterated, uncompromising, and unstoppable in the theaters. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the super fortress of intelligent black thought. This is the BlackChannel.net radio. I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And we're glad to have you all with us here tonight. The telephone number, as you can see from your screen, is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. That is, of course, your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. You definitely should join us. We've had quite the momentous week since we last got to sit down and discuss things with each other. And I hope that you all got to be a part of it. 4 years ago, I said that I wanted to do a documentary about the single most important subject in black society. I wanted to do a documentary about why we are the poorest people in America, because it is the money that matters. The money is the only thing that matters. Your life is on the line, and the money is the only thing that matters. And nobody else was doing it. Nobody else was trying to make a documentary like this. No one else was offering to make a documentary like this. No one else could make a documentary like this. The Black Channel is the only place that could have put together something as ambitious as 7 a.m. And so I got together with a few other people and I said, let's do it. Let's make 7 a.m. I want to go talk to this list of people. This is a list of people I must talk to, because we have to have the answers for this. I'm going to ask the questions in an unapologetic, unadulterated, and uncompromising manner. And I think you all can see, for those of you who saw 7 a.m., you can see that I asked the questions that nobody else has asked. A lot of people have asked Dr. Claude Anderson a lot of things, but they did not put the finger on the civil rights generation and ask, what did they do with our inheritance? No one asked that before 7 a.m. A lot of people talk about Madam C.J. Walker's family. We are the only people who talked to Madam C.J. Walker's family and brought you the definitive explanation of what happened to our first real luminary here in black economics. We are the only place that actually brought you the answers about it. The only one. We took you high above the New York skyline to speak to Don Peebles in person, to ask him what you would have asked. How do I do that? How do I get here? And with him telling you in no uncertain terms, you must change the way you think. If you can't change the way you think, you can never get where I am. And he explained it in detail. We took you step by step through the millionaire's mind, so you could see the difference between the way that he sees things and the way that he interprets things and the way that he regards things and the way that everybody else is out there talking about it, because everybody else out there wants to say that they're talking about economics, but then you actually ask them to show it. And that's where the wheels come off the wagon. When you actually ask them to give you some details, that's when things fall apart. That's when everything falls apart for you. We took you on location to the places. We take you to Philadelphia. We take you to the Negro League's Memorial. We take you to Mother Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church. We take you to Madison Avenue. We take you to Dr. Claude Anderson's fishery and give you a walkthrough so you can see that the prophet of Powernomics is not just giving you theory. He knows what he's talking about because he lives it every day. And you got inside access that you have seen nowhere else from anywhere else. In high definition, no grainy, messed up video. You have seen it with your own eyes now. And they, after years of me talking to you, I've gone and talked to them in person. Is that enough for you now? Now that I've gone and spoken to the prophets and brought the word back to you, is that enough for you now to stop arguing? Have we validated our credentials enough? Or are you still going to sit there and argue? Because the truth is, there's nothing left to argue about. There's nothing left to question about. There isn't. What the last 3 years have shown us is that there's simply a contingent of black people who are perfectly happy to sit and wither and die on the vine. They are perfectly pleased to do that. They're not actually trying to make anything happen. And that was the other part of what this documentary was referring to. That we have a contingent amongst us that is holding the entirety of the people back because they are determined to stay on the plantation and to keep every single one of us there with them. They have no code of ethics. They have no code of conduct. They have no principles. They have no credo. They have no pledge of allegiances. They are roaches that are attempting to simply exist. They are not trying to live, they're just trying to survive. Can I make it to tomorrow? And that's what they're doing. That's the only thing that they're doing right now. They're not actually getting anything done. And as you saw from the story that I put up here 2 days ago, you've only had a handful of people in Ferguson, Missouri. They're getting ready for their next round of elections here in 2 months. That's right. In 2 months, they can... Let me tell you, all of this has happened within a 6-month period. From the death of Mike Brown to now, it's been about 6 months. And what you have witnessed is the reason that Darren Wilson felt so confident. And you could see it in the ABC interview. That he had that swagger to him. Why, he has nothing to fear from you niggers. Because there's nothing you can do. The power is sitting on his side, not yours. You see, the truth of the matter is that Jay Knowles and Bob McCullough and all of their evil, twisted ilk, they knew things about Ferguson that the rest of us didn't know. They knew that the black people of Ferguson have accepted their fate. That they have outright rejected prosperity and have accepted their position as a subservient dog class in Missouri. I'm just stating it like it is. They've accepted it. Out of 15,000 black people in Ferguson, and only 8 people actually applied to run for office in the upcoming elections in Ferguson. And only some of them are black. Only some of them are black. Only some of them are. And what has happened now is we have a situation where we as black people are seeing our survival being mitigated by individuals amongst us who are determined that they are simply not going to grow up. They have determined that they are just not going to grow up at all. The reason that 7 a.m. could not have been made before now is because most black people are operating on a childlike intellect. Just like on the plantations, they've been infantilized. Have you ever tried to walk up to a 3-year-old and get him to talk economics with you while he's playing with his toys? Have you ever attempted to do that? Attempted to talk to him about an adult subject while he's playing with his toys? No, he doesn't want that. And he doesn't want that because as far as he's concerned, all that stuff is boring. That's for the adults. That's not for him. That's not for him. And that's what we have operating in black society today. We have a bunch of people who are supposed to be adults but operating on a childlike mentality and a childlike mind state. They have refused to grow up. They've refused to mature. They've refused to take on adulthood in any way. And what I just told you, that's the reason why most black people refuse to discuss economics. Because there is nothing childlike about economics. Economics is not for children. A child is not readily going to gravitate to economics. There's no candy in that. There's no games in that. There's no fun in that. It is strictly for the adult intellect, for the adult mind, for the adult spirit. It is not for children. And you see, black people are offended. Black people are offended by adulthood. Telling black people that we have to discuss things in an adult manner, that offends them. Black people are offended by being told that they have to talk about adult things. Not just resistant to it, but actually outright offended. Actually outright offended by it. No wonder we can't build an economy. Because you see, children don't build economies, adults do. But when you have a group of people in a society, when you have an ethnic group who is emotionally retarded in their growth and is desirous to operate like children, no wonder you can't build an economy. I've had a number of people contact me about screening 7 a.m. When I say a number, I mean dozens. My email has just been blowing up. My email has just detonated in the last 7 days with people wanting to screen 7 a.m. across the world, not just across the country, around the world they want to screen it. But I've noticed a trend among a lot of these people. They ask about screening 7 a.m. We put up the note that said that if you want to screen 7 a.m., if you want to host it, contact us. And people are contacting us, and we tell them what the screening fee is and what the requirements are. And next thing you know, we don't hear from them anymore. You see, I think a lot of these people think that this is another handout situation. I think that a lot of these people thought it was another handout situation where they just walk up to us like the government welfare office and say, hey, I live in Fargo. Why don't you screen 7 a.m. there? Munch, munch. You see, when we were saying that it was their opportunity to get involved, they don't want that. They are not actually trying to get involved. They think that this is going to be like a TV show where all they have to do is tune in for 30 minutes and at the end of it, it'll be over. This is an absolute rejection of adulthood among a whole group of adults in the ethnic community. Isn't that amazing? Black people are the only ethnic community on earth that the adults are desirous to be children. And to be treated and talked down to and belittled and humiliated like children. We're the only group that is actually actively working toward that. That we reject situations where we could get respect, and we run to situations, we prefer situations where we can be treated and punished and chastised like children. We want something for nothing. So you approach Black Channel Films and Jason Black trying to get something for nothing. I've had a number of people who they wanted me to just give them a copy of 7 a.m. No, I'm not joking. They wanted us to just give them a copy of it. Now, let me tell you something, folks. If you go off and you spend $50,000 to film a documentary, and then you have to spend twice that amount of money to promote the documentary, how many documentaries are you going to be able to make if you're spending that kind of money and giving it away? But you have to understand, the average Negro was raised with the bastard baby maker plantation mammy mindset. We're operating like mammies on a plantation. And the mammy on the plantation is like, I ain't got to do nothing else. Master gonna take care of this here for me. He gonna bring me some food. He gonna bring me some biscuits. He gonna bring me some cream of wheat. I ain't got to do nothing now. I'm just gonna sit over here in this here corner, wash my shoes, do these dishes. We have adopted that plantation mammy mindset, where we're expecting somebody else to take care of the serious work for us, while the menial tasks are reserved so we can continue to operate and behave like children. We want to leave adulthood up to other people so we can be the kids. I don't respect somebody who tries to get something without paying for it. And I don't trust anything that I got without paying for it. If I didn't pay for it, I don't trust it. That's just real talk. If I didn't pay for it, I don't trust it. I do not trust it if I didn't pay for it. If somebody walks up to me trying to hand me something, I got questions about you, Jack. If what you were offering were so valuable, why are you just giving it away? Why are you just giving it away if it's so valuable? For those of you who've seen the pictures, you've seen the photographs, you were there on opening day on January 17th and January 22nd. Several of the venues sold out. Most of them sold most of their seats, but you know, I'm still not happy about that. A lot of people are like, Jason, you should be happy. You're a first-time filmmaker. 7 a.m. did phenomenal numbers. But I'm not happy. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not happy. I'm not happy about it because we had thousands of people around the world, thousands of people showed up to see 7 a.m. in the last 7 days. Thousands. And my question is, why wasn't it millions? We should have had millions of people showing up at those theaters. We should have had millions of people gathered there. We should have had millions of people. We should have been able to fill up every theater in Manhattan. Is there anything more important than our socioeconomic demise right now? Anything? Is there anything that we could be talking about that is possibly even remotely more important? Somebody name for me, what is more important than talking about our survival? What is more important? Somebody tell me. What is it that we have to talk about or discuss? What other movie do you have to see? What other program do you have to be a part of that is more important than this? If there's something more important than what we were discussing in 7 a.m., I want somebody to call me up and tell me. Call me up and tell me that you found something more important. Because I want to know. I want to know. The phone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. 646-787-1933 is your access code to the blackchannel.net radio program. Go ahead and call us up if you have something more important. I want to hear about that. We'll see if we can open up the phone lines here now. Caller from 901. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, Jason. This is Gabriel from Memphis. How you doing?
Brother Gabriel from Memphis. What's on your mind, brother?
Nothing much. Just tuning in. Just again, man, really enjoyed the film 7 a.m. It was life-changing, empowering. You just did a great job. But I feel the same way. I felt, a lot of people were like, hey, Gabriel, a lot of people came out, man. Aren't you happy? And I was like, you know what? As bad a shape as Memphis is in, we should have had standing room only. I mean, I think our theater sat 150. Should have been 300,
Should have been 3,000.
I definitely feel you on that, brother.
Should have been 3,000. I mean, we should have had enough. I mean, what they have for what the oh boy, I forget what college team it is in Tennessee, but hell, they should have had the whole stadium filled. It should have looked like a Billy Graham crusade.
Right. I mean, you can get them to go to the Southern Heritage Classic. We have thousands of black folks come here for that game. And people knew about 7 a.m. and we got close to 75 to 100 people there. You're right. It really should have been about 3,000 people because nothing's more important than black empowerment, especially here because the black people here, we're so poverty-stricken, and this film is telling us how to get out of that, and there's nothing more important than that. I really feel you on that one.
Well, like I say, I mean, we did good at most of our theaters and whatnot. A few of the problem areas, like I say, definitely demonstrated why they're problem areas. They definitely show why they have the issues that they have. But even in the places where we sold out and stuff like that, my question is why weren't there 500,000 people here? Why wasn't that the case? Why didn't we have a lot more people? Why didn't we have, why in the world would there be any programming or any movie out there going on at all? Black folks should have been lined up from here to Timbuktu to see this. Is there any subject more important? And if there is, somebody tell me. What else did we have to do last weekend or yesterday? What else do we have to watch? What else do we have to come and see and be a part of? What else was more important? I want to know.
I can't think of anything. I know black people that went at 7 a.m., but they went to go see American Sniper. They talked about that on Facebook all weekend. And they knew about 7 a.m. You got the fake conscious people, always talking about black empowerment through the week. But when it was time to show up, you never saw them. And I told people here in Memphis, I said, look, if you don't show up to the showing, please, I'm going to call you out on Facebook if I see you talking about police brutality or anything else. Because it just shows who's serious about it. I mean, the $15 to get the knowledge you need to take the steps so you and your future generations can live.
Well, not just that.
That's
not just about seeing 7 a.m. It was about responding to a call to a gathering of black people on the same page. Everybody's been talking about we need to get black people together in the same place. Okay, well, I called everybody together in the same place. I did that. I called everybody together in the same place, and take a look at what happened.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I know people here in Memphis knew about it, and they didn't show up. And like I said, we had a decent turnout, but I wanted more. I really did. So, I guess we'll just have to do what we have to do with the 75 people that showed. But it just goes to show who's serious here. And like I said, we're in really bad shape here in Memphis. And I am glad I did meet those people, and thank you for having that event, because I'd never seen those people before, some of them. And so now we're correlating and trying to get things going, and hopefully with that 75 we can change things.
Now I'm going to post up. I'm going to post up the audio from last night when you had the Q&A with me and everything. I'm going to post up last night, and of course, everybody, it's one of those situations where it didn't take long. The second person who stood up was Uncle Ruckus, telling us that everything was fine. Uncle Ruckus jumped up and said everything was fine. One of these old civil rights coons jumped up during the Memphis screening to tell everybody that everything was fine, that they were making plenty of money, that the economy has bounced back since 2007, as if that's our economy he's talking about. He's talking about white folks' economy as if it's ours. So he's one of these massa-we-sick people. He was talking about it like that. Then he tried to lie and pretend like he's some big real estate mogul. Dude, nobody's heard of you. Nobody knows you. You're not moving no weight. You're not a shot caller. Nobody knows who you are. But this is what we're up against. Black people are in a life and death situation, and we have people pretending and talking as if we can make believe our way out of this, and we're not.
Right. I told people that. I said, man, they were like, well, he seems to be successful in his own life. I said, dude, he came up here flogging. He about nothing. I told him, I said, if he was about something, real estate mogul, we were in Midtown. That's where the movie theater is. There's a huge real estate boom there.
Where's his commercial real estate?
Nowhere. Black people have no hand in the commercial real estate here in Memphis, but you know who does? The gay community does. They've all band together and got some of that real estate in Midtown. I mean, they've dumped millions in that community. Black people have no say-so. But we're doing fine. And it really baffled me when you said, I'm looking at him like, really, brother? And
well,
he got so mad, you know?
As far as he's concerned,
like
if he can sell one house, as far as he's concerned, that's big money.
Right. And I think what happened too, Jason, is when you hit people with the dose of reality and they don't know how to take it, they get angry. And I think the film kind of just smacked him in the face like, this is real, brother, you know? And he didn't know how to receive that because it was just so much. Everything he talked about was just facts. You know, boom, boom, just hitting you in the face, fact after fact. You had numbers in there to back up what you were saying. And a lot of people don't know how to take that. Now, he wasn't the only coon in there. He was just the one brave enough to speak. But you had others on the side kind of side-eyeing and talking, you know, like, I don't know about this, you know.
If you're going to say that black people are okay, then what you have to show me is where in Memphis do black people have more power, wealth, and influence than the whites? Where?
None.
Now, once you show us that, then you have a point. If you can't show us that, you're just talking out of your ears.
Right. And that's what he was doing. I told him, I said, man, that guy, he's just talking. He doesn't own anything. He doesn't control anything. He's just talking. He's mad, upset. Like I said, I think the film really just kind of hit him in the face, and he didn't really know how to accept it. He didn't.
Well, he knew exactly how to accept it. You have to understand, like I said, most black people have been institutionalized, and that civil rights generation is completely institutionalized. They've been totally cowed down. They have no fighting left in them. Hell, they didn't put up a fight when they needed to fight for themselves. We would be a fool to think that they're going to fight for us when they never fought for themselves. So all he wants to do is, in his mind, even when he talks to other black people, there's a little white supremacist on his shoulder. And that little white supremacist is checking him and pulling his card. And every time he says something, he makes sure that he's pleasing that little white supremacist on his shoulder. That's what institutionalized means. He talks to us as if he's being watched by white overseers, even though he's not.
Right. That's definitely true. And I even asked, I was like, if, you sold, tell us about some of your, after the Q&A, tell us about some of your real estate, Since you're so powerful, you we're doing so well, you couldn't say anything. And there's no surprise.
Yeah, I was going to do that to him, but we only had a limited amount of time, and I just wanted to get him out of the way. Because I'm like, dude, black society is so full of bull jive artists that this is what they do. One. We sit up here and sit around and play games with each other, and we're up against people who got real assets. They're not playing make believe. They're not playing professional bull jive artists. These people are drop dead serious. And as I demonstrated to you in 7 a.m., we are already well down the road to them using their economy to strangle us. We're not on the first or second step of it. Man, we only got 2 or 3 steps to go before the strangulation is complete at this point.
Yes, sir.
I'll let you have the last word.
I agree 100%. Again, I just really thank you for everything you've done with the movie, and I definitely found some people. Sometimes you feel so alone when you're kind of trying to do this movement, this revolution, but when you got together with other people, you see that there is hope. So again, we just want to thank you here in Memphis, and we're going to show that your work wasn't in vain. Black first, brother. Thank you.
Black first, Brother Gabriel. Thank you very much for your assistance. You did really good last night. That was in Memphis, by the way, the bastard baby-making capital of America. And it was some mumble-mouthed civil rights generation buffoon who jumped up and was telling us, I got recorded in audio, he said everything was fine. He said the economy had recovered, and he said that black folk were doing fine in Memphis. That's what he said. I got it recorded for you. He said it. There's a light at the end of this tunnel. It's going to be good. There's no reason to be negative about it. We need to be optimistic. Everything is fine in Memphis. Everything is fine. And you are going to get gunned down by the police or gentrified straight out of your neighborhood. Hell, straight out of the state. With that clown sitting there and telling you that everything is just fine. He's going to tell you that everything is just okay. I got a few more points I want to make here. I want to try to get... I'll take one more phone call here before I make another point here. Caller from 313. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello, brother.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
David from Detroit, Michigan.
And what's on your mind, David? If you're on speakerphone, you want to turn it off.
Okay, hold on. Yes, I just really wanted to call and let you know my sincere appreciation for what you have done for me and my family.
Thank you very much.
I brought my brother, and I've been speaking to him. I've been speaking to him about the things that you've been teaching and talking about. And the movie just drove it home last night.
Well, like I say, I usually don't have the ability in my YouTube videos and my broadcast here. There's just so much information that needs to be covered. And doing a documentary like 7 a.m., that presented me with the ability to actually be able to touch on all those points and to be able to show you what's happening in Detroit and that the situation is real, and to show you that they've already got things where they want it, and it started with Coleman Young, but it's going to end with all of you being removed. And the situation in Detroit is deadly now. It's not a little off. The situation in Detroit is downright deadly because they are rebuilding straight in the middle of downtown Detroit. They're rebuilding right in the heart of downtown Detroit, which means they're going to start there and spread outward. And every block, it's going to be like war. And they're going to take that city back block by block. And what that means, if they take back a block a month, that means that they can take the whole damn place over in 5 years. They will have black folk, their black problem will be permanently resolved in 5 years. What you going to do when that happens?
They'll basically do nothing to them. But it has gotten so bad, now they're selling parcel lots for $100. Not just to the person who lives next to a vacant lot, but to anyone. And when I say lots, I don't mean just a lot that a house is sit on. I mean a lot that an entire apartment building or a store or a supermarket used to be on. If you're like, I mean, it's amazing how...
It's the New York strategy. This is what they did in New York and Brooklyn back in the 80s. They were selling brownstones for pennies on the dollar. This is what they did back then. And now take a look at the price of real estate in New York. So Detroit is doing the same thing. And as I showed you in my documentary, black people are not on their way to being a minority in Harlem. Black people are already not the majority in Harlem anymore. Already. We're already there. We are in denial of how quickly this is all deteriorated on us. And in the case of Detroit, brother, they got you right where they want you now. They can just wholesale remove black people from whole sides of town now. What are you going to do?
They're already starting in Brightmoor.
Yeah.
It's a small area in the northwest side of Detroit and Brightmoor. They're already talking about moving everyone out of the area and turn it into urban farmland. And it's just amazing to me. But I just really wanted to tell you thank you, and I'm going to keep on listening, and I'm going to get the word out to as many people as possible.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here in the case of Detroit, brother. Like I say, I don't know if it's already too late or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Keep your head attached to your shoulders. I covered Detroit in 7 a.m. I dealt with it in depth. I explained to you what the strategy is. Between your water bills and the falling real estate prices, they've got you. This is not accidental. This is ethnic cleansing. 21st century American style. They will simply make it economically impossible for you to remain. And because you have no economic foundation in place, you have nothing to... Forget stopping them, you can't even slow them down. You can't even slow them down. But I guess that's what 7 a.m. is about also. Because you see, there's a contingent in black society, which actually is the majority, that has just resigned itself to its fate. There is a majority in black society that simply says, you know what? I don't have to do any better. I don't have to make any changes. I will just scurry like roaches. I'll be like cockroaches. I'll do like cockroaches do, and every morning I'll get up and try to scurry to work, and try to scurry home, and scurry to the store, and try to scurry back. We'll just see if we can do that real quick, and hopefully I can be quick enough that Daniel Pantaleo or Darren Wilson won't get behind me. Hopefully I can make it from point A to point B before one of them gets a hold of me. Maybe I can make that happen. And the truth is, most black people have resigned themselves to that fate. Why didn't we have millions of people showing up for this? I know a lot of people are saying, man, how much do you want? I want black empowerment. Why didn't we have millions of people showing up for this? Why don't I have 100,000 people asking about screening this film? We got dozens right now. But why don't we have thousands of people asking about filming this thing across the world? Why don't we have that instead? In other words, why do we not have an entire galvanized group of people in this country who understand what the problem is and are up and doing something about it? This is showing me you don't take this situation seriously. We did a fair amount of expensive advertising in New York City. Every single black person in Harlem should have been at the SVA. It should have looked the way it did in Harlem when Jackie Robinson got called up to the Brooklyn Dodgers. It should have looked like that. That's what it should have looked like. It should have been teeming throngs out there in the streets. Should have been all those people you see protesting, that should have been filling up the streets in Manhattan for 7 a.m. We should have had every theater in that entire city booked solid. That's what it should have looked like. And the fact that we didn't have that, yeah, I mean, people are saying, well, didn't you do fine like you are? You're missing the point. The point is not did we do fine for ourselves. We as black people sit up here and look at ourselves and say, well, if I'm doing okay, everything's all right. I'm taking a look around the world. I'm taking a look at us as a people as a whole. And as a people as a whole in Harlem and Brooklyn and Staten Island, we should have made American Sniper look like a flop. We should have had American Sniper looking like a flop. That's what we should have had. And the reaction and the response that we got What that demonstrates to me is that most of the people who showed up, they came from Harlem and Brooklyn. Where was Staten Island? Where were you, Staten Island? And what this shows me is that Staten Island learned nothing from the lessons of Eric Garner. Absolutely nothing. They were not a galvanized people who were taking this threat seriously. That was not what was showing up there last night. We got some folk who get it and some who are still grappling and arguing and fighting and living in denial. Yeah, we had thousands of people come out. I want to know why we didn't have millions more. I want to know why 7 a.m. is not the #1 movie on earth right now. That's what I want to know. Because if we are the poorest people in the world, this was an opportunity for us to show that we are the smartest people in the world. But black people have a habit of passing down poverty to the point, black people, you're supposed to be ashamed of being impoverished. You are supposed to be ashamed of being in poverty, and not only should you be ashamed, you should be humiliated if your children are growing up in poverty. You are supposed to be humiliated. You're supposed to be humiliated when your children are growing up with less than other people have. You are supposed to be suicidal because you're supposed to feel like such a failure. And in black society, we have adopted the identity of the po folks to such a point that we think it's a happy thing now to be the po folks. That's what I mean by operating on that childlike level. We have so many hopelessly immature individuals among us that they're actually happy dancing the jig and being broke. It's not like dealing with an adult. It's like dealing with a 3-year-old. Amazing. Amazing. When I say black empowerment, this is the way I think of it. This is the way I see it. Because I know the numbers that we need to galvanize on this. And this shows me that you didn't learn anything as a group. As a group. Didn't learn anything from that. I didn't say, did we do good on our turnout? Well, yeah, we did good with our turnout, but I want to know why we weren't able to book solid for a month. Oscar Grant got gunned down in Oakland, California. Why didn't we have Oakland booked solid for a month? And the fact that we didn't do that tells me that you don't take the situation very seriously in Oakland. Oscar Grant and what happened to him, you've already dismissed the lessons of Oscar Grant. You already dismissed it. Washington, D.C. sold out. Okay, why didn't we have it sold out for 2 months? Chocolate City. Gentrification. Full steam. Why wasn't Washington, D.C. sold out for 2 straight months? Why didn't we have people reserving tickets for a year? Why didn't we have that happen? Because you don't take this situation very seriously. SVA Theater. The theater is full on January 17th, but that's not the question. The question is, okay, you all are here, but what about the rest of Harlem and Brooklyn? What about the Long Island, Staten Island, Queens, Yonkers? Yes, I said Yonkers. Why is it that we were not just lighting that place up? And the reason for that is because Daniel Pantaleo did not kill enough people to make black folk think that that was how serious it really is. Most black folk are so cowardly and afraid today that they won't lift a finger to save their own lives, and they are just waiting for somebody to make a direct threat against them personally before they get up and do something about it. You have lost. The lessons of Eric Garner are wasted on you. They've been wasted. 7 a.m. should have had Tyler Perry saying, "What in the hell happened?" I mean, tell me seriously, what else do we have to talk about or discuss? What else is there to talk about and discuss? Well, TBA, I thought you did good on your numbers and people want to screen it. That's not the point. The point isn't to be number one. The point is, why weren't we the only one? Nobody would ever know that black people were standing at the precipice of annihilation today, looking at the way that black people act. Nobody would ever guess that we were on the verge of death today by looking at us. Nobody would know it. Nobody would know that. You would never guess that black people are staring down the barrel of annihilation, taking a look at the way that we respond and act as a people. You wouldn't know it. You would never guess it. You couldn't tell, not by looking at the way we act, you couldn't. Not by looking at us, you can't. Not by looking at us. And this pathology, this pattern of behavior that we have of impoverishing ourselves generation after generation, that was why I took you on the journey that is 7 a.m. That's why I gave you all the details. I showed you the parallels between what happened to the Negro Leagues and what happened to the black hair care industry to show you that this is what you're really up against. And they are using their economy like a weapon to keep you trapped and enchained. And black people would rather indulge in denial, even if it's outright lies and fantasies. We'd rather have that than to actually embrace adulthood and thus survival. I put up a story earlier today about how the old R&B group TLC, which really should be pop, TLC, they're holding a crowdfunding so they can get $150,000 together to make a new album. Now, there's only two of them still alive, T-Boz and Chili. Now, these women made millions in the 90s. Millions. They came out with like New Kids on the Block and, you know, all those other boy bands. They came out with them. They came out with them. And now they are asking for donations to get $150,000 so they can make a new album. Do you know what that tells me? When you are folk like them and you're asking for $150,000, first of all, you cannot bring an album to market for $150,000. You can't do that. You cannot bring an album to market today for $150,000. You would have to spend $3 or $4 million to bring an album to market today. If they want $150,000, that means that they just want to pay the engineer. That is just enough money to pay an engineer to mix an album for them. That's all that is. That's all that is. And if they don't have enough money to pay the engineer to mix their album, what that means is that TLC is flat broke. TLC, who was number one in the world, is flat broke today. Both of them, not just one of them. T-Boz and Chili, both flat broke. Eric Sermon and Parrish Smith ain't holding a crowdfunding to make a new album. They still got millions from when they were sitting on top as EPMD. LL Cool J is not asking for money to make an album. He still got his. So T-Boz and Chili ain't got no excuses. Take a look at their behavior. Chili was on top of the world when they made Hat to the Back and she was flexing her muscles. And people were like, wow, look at how good a shape she's in. And her head just ballooned. All of a sudden, she's all about physical fitness. Oh, people like me so much. Ooh, they like looking at me. Ego trip. And the money is gone. T-Boz, after she got diagnosed with sickle cell, well, she decided to make some even better life choices, and she married, wait for it, of course, I guess she figured before Beyonce, she would go down the same road, so she marries Mac 10. And very soon thereafter, the two of them are getting divorced. So that shows you what kind of mindset she's dealing with. We're not dealing with our best and brightest. We're not dealing with black empowerment-minded individuals. We are dealing with people who want to scurry from the house to the store, and the money is all gone. Millions of dollars, and the money is all gone. So much so to the point that two of the folks who donated to their little crowdfunding campaign, Katy Perry and Backstreet and New Kids on the Block. That's right. They've fallen so low that they have to get donations from Katy Perry and New Kids on the Block. But New Kids on the Block can afford it. Wahlberg and what are the other fella, they're deep off in the real estate game. Deep off in it. A decade ago, they were making millions at it. Deep off in the real estate game. The money is piling up for them. Baby, he could give you $1 million to bring your album to market if he just wanted to. New Kids on the Block is all right. TLC is DOA. New Kids on the Block is doing fine. TLC is DOA. That's where you're at today. Somebody asked in the chat room, Usher can't let Chili hold something. Usher Raymond has a habit of doing two things. Taking his shirt off and sleeping with females. Those are the two things that Usher Raymond has done consistently. The one thing he has not done is try to be Captain Save-A-Ho. And he learned after that older woman he was with, he learned after her that keep your money in your pocket. When you meet some bad luck broad, a woman who's got money and means, and she goes off here and tricks off all her money, Usher said, no, you got to go broke by yourself. I'm not going to dump good money after bad. So she's in his bed. And he'll take a few pictures with her, but he's not going to invest any money in her because she's already shown that she's a fool with her money. He is not a fool with his money. So, no, he's done with that. He's done with that. He's showing you that he wants to maintain his power, wealth, and influence so he can have as much access to as many women as he wants, but he's going to hold on to that money so he can maintain that access. Usher Raymond's not going to give her no money. None. And that kind of makes you wonder, why would she still be running up behind somebody like that if he's not going to do anything for you? That kind of tells you what he thinks of you. But what's she going to do? She going to get flipped with him? She's going to get smart at the mouth with him? Is that what she's going to do? She going to get a flip mouth with him? How is she going to do that? Because he's the one with the money. He's the one with the record contract. He's the one in the business. She's trying to get back in the business. He is still in the business. She doesn't have any grounds to run her mouth. And black men, I hope you all took a lesson from Usher Raymond in this instance. When you have the power and the influence, your female is not going to act a damn fool. If your female is acting a fool with you, it's because she thinks she's got one up on you. When you show her, baby, I don't need you. Next thing you know, she's in line. He's not arguing with her. There's not this Chris Brown with Rihanna situation. He's not having to sit up here and Bronco bust her. He's like, baby, look here. I'm doing you the favor. Just by answering the phone, I'm doing you a treat. Not the other way around. And she knows it. He doesn't have to sit up here and advertise it to all of you. He knows it. And you should know it. So I hope the men are taking lessons from Usher. Because he's not begging her to act like she got some sense. He's not begging her for nothing. And anytime she wants to leave, there's the dough. Be on the other side of it. But he's not going to sit up here and hurt himself to keep you. Yeah, you're in good shape and everything. That's real cute. But baby, you ain't giving him nothing he already got. And that's why you as black men need to be men of means. So that you don't have these kinds of stupid conflicts with females. Because a female challenges a male that she thinks is in an inferior position. She doesn't challenge a male who she knows is sufficient. Once you show her that you're self-sufficient, there ain't nothing to argue about. And you won't argue with her either because your time will be too valuable for that. A man who's got the time to argue with a woman for hours, his time ain't worth nothing. Because I don't have time to argue with people for hours on end. I just don't. It's going to be my way or the highway, but I'm not going to argue with you for hours on end. My time is too valuable. So TLC is showing you all that you can't say this was the 1950s or the 1960s. And by the way, they didn't get messed over in the 1950s or 60s either. White folk have seen that black people will trade in money for attention since we left the plantations. White people have understood that black people value attention and validation more than money since we left the plantations, and they have been using that character flaw against us every day ever since. They realize that we will sign any contract under any terms as long as we think there's going to be some attention at the end of this negotiation. Black people will sign over millions of dollars if you will get them on TV. If you'll let us get on television, we will sign away all the money. You keep all the money, we get all the publicity. And we have always been like that since we left the plantations. Jack Johnson was not about black empowerment. Jack Johnson was about money, hoes, and clothes. He wanted to have sexual access. That's what Jack Johnson was about. And that's exactly what Jack Johnson got. TLC was not about power, wealth, and influence. Kenneth Babyface Edmonds was about power, wealth, and influence. And guess what? He's got it. L.A. Reid was about power, wealth, and influence. And guess what? He's got it. He wasn't about attention. That's why Kenneth Edmonds went from being a singer to a producer and never looked back. He didn't need attention. He wanted power, wealth, and influence. L.A. Reid left from in front of the microphone to producing, never looked back. He did not want attention. He wanted power, wealth, and influence. And he got it. TLC never tried to get power, wealth, and influence. Black folks sit up here and grow up as a bunch of po folks from the projects, and we spend the rest of our lives trying to live like po folks from the projects. And when the money is all gone, we want to try to close the barn door after all the horses have left. We want to try to sit up here and change things when it no longer matters. You got black females with 4 and 5 babies, tattoos from head to toe, and now they want to act right. Now that she's got all these children hanging off of her like swamp moss, now you want to act like a sensible female. Now that it no longer matters. You got them kids now, it doesn't matter how you act. You're not prime real estate anymore. When they're prime real estate, they want to act a fool. Black men want to sit up here and trick off their best years of working, and when we finally do get something together, we want to act a damn fool later. We want to sit up here and chase interracialism. We want to sit up here and chase consumerism. We want to sit up here and chase non-productivity. We want to chase attention whoring. We don't want to build nothing. And then when we're broke and our backs are to the wall, we want to wait until our late 30s and our late 40s. Ooh, hell, I better start building something. I better start building something. Why weren't you building something in your 20s? Man, I had to chase these hoes. I had to chase these hoes. That's what I was doing. Chasing these hoes. And now you've got nothing to show for it. After chasing these hoes. Nothing to show for it. Black people want to sit up here and start rebuilding our lives when it no longer matters. Tell me, what good is TLC going to do us today? They're both two broke 40-something females who are desperately trying to use some popularity from the 90s to try to correct their financial position. Why? Because T-Boz and Chili are both broke. Millions of dollars. This ain't the 1950s or 60s. These weren't shady people with shady contracts. These two women tricked off their money well after they were grown. Well, long after they were grown. This was not Pebbles, and this was not Babyface cheating them. They were not robbed. Neither were the Ink Spots or the Temptations or the Four Tops. Nobody robbed these people. They got Cadillacs, they got shoes, they got snakeskin gators. And that was what they wanted. They wanted to be superstars in the hood. And the white folk gave them a Cadillac and some shoes and said, go be a superstar, nigga. And that was what they did. And after they realized that a car and shoes are not assets and you cannot sell them for more than you got them for, now they want to say they were cheated. Because they see that the people who gave them that car kept the money. And you signed over the money so you could be on TV. And now you want to scream bloody murder and yell that you were robbed, but you didn't say that you were robbed when they were giving you that car. I don't want to hear Lil Wayne come back and say he was robbed. He was never robbed, nigga. I'm watching you out here every damn day talking about the cars and the females and the baby mamas. And you're all over the damn place trying to show that you can sleep with every stripe and color of female around the world. That's where your money went, so don't come back talking about you lost nothing. At least that's one thing that we can thank the modern era of cable TV and the internet for. These Negroes can no longer lie about how they lost their money, because the Ink Spots and Four Tops and all them Negroes from the 40s and 50s and 60s, they lied about how they lost it. They lie and say they were robbed. At least today they can't lie anymore. Because they can't wait to take to social media to show you how they're spending their money. They were doing it back then like they're doing it now. This is a proud tradition in black society. We have a long tradition of throwing our money away for attention. A long and proud tradition of doing that. Because we are expecting that we can use our money to play with, and that there's some mystical, magical white person out there somewhere who's going to come along at the last minute and save us. And what kind of person lives their life as an adult hoping that somebody comes along to save them? You know, it's pretty pathetic when you've gotten that far along. Pretty pathetic. We're going to open up the phone lines again here now. Let me take a caller from 773. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Black First Jason, this is Jalen, calling from Chicago, but right now I'm in Champaign, Illinois.
And what's on your mind, brother?
What's on my mind is like, okay, I think it was about Tuesday or Thursday, you know, I'm taking a class, my Afro-American history class, and like the teacher, he just so happens to be like the head of the Afro-American history department down here. He was telling us how he was a part of the civil rights generation. He met Dr. King, and what was shocking to me, he said, this came out of his mouth, he said, I feel like my generation has failed you guys. He told us, to us, the students in the class.
Because they have. The civil rights generation cannot point to one tangible accomplishment that they've left you all. And I tell you all the same thing. If they say that they did something for you, ask them what was it specifically that you accomplished that benefited us. And their only answer will be, well, now you can shop at those stores over there that you weren't able to shop at before. So you mean that you gave up your black stores, and you say that the accomplishment is that you lost your black stores and now we can give all of our money to non-black people? You call that an accomplishment that you're bragging about?
And then after the class, I personally went up to him. I told him like, man, you like one of the few from the civil rights generation that said this. Probably like the only, but one of the few. And he said, yeah, man. Like, yeah, he told me, like, yeah, man, I know, because Like, if you look at the situation in Ferguson, we failed y'all. That was his words exactly.
There is no infrastructure in place for us to fight the system. We're trying to build one now. Where is our black communications infrastructure? We have black newspapers. Where is our black media infrastructure? Where is our black educational infrastructure? Where is it? We used to have a black economy. We gave that up. Black cab companies, bus companies, movie theaters, we had that. And we gave it up. And as I explained last night during the Q&A, it would be impossible for you and I, no matter how much money we had, you and I could never go into Chinatown and buy out their businesses and get them to integrate. There's no amount of money that you and I could go into Chinatown with and get them to integrate with us. It'll never happen. And the reason why is because they understand that you cannot survive as a people without a code of conduct. You can't survive as a people. And they understand the code of conduct. They're not going to make any decisions that do not benefit their group's self-interest. Us, on the other hand, other people can walk into the black community and buy off everybody. Dre got bought. TLC got bought. Birdman, Nicki Minaj, all of them are wholly owned subsidiaries of white supremacy. Black people could never walk into a non-black community and go buy up whole parts of it wholesale. You and I could never go and buy Vidal Sassoon. They would never sell it to us. We'll sell our black hair cosmetics companies. We'll sell those. We will sell our black hair cosmetics companies. You go try to buy Max Factor and see what happens. Go try to buy Paul Mitchell and see what happens. Go try it and see what they do. Go try to buy CoverGirl and see what happens when you get there. How about Revlon? Go try to buy Revlon and see what happens when you try to buy it. I don't care how much money you have. They would never give it up to you. They would never give it up to you, not unless it was no longer worth anything. Now, when it's no longer worth anything, they'll sell it to you. Ain't that right, Michael Jordan? Once they've run it ragged, they'll sell it to you then. But if it's worth something, they're not going to give it. There's no amount of money you can approach them with that will allow them to sell it to you. None. None. And as black people, we don't leave assets to our children to build on. We're too busy. Black people are the worst people in the world about sabotaging their own children. We know that we live in a world that runs on money, and we give birth to children and say, let them fend for themselves. That is treason. And I've said that everywhere that I've done a Q&A, that we are the biggest proponents of treason against our own children. Your children should be starting out the block with assets waiting for them. They should have assets, social institutions, social clubs where they get together, where you've inculcated them to say that this is where we come to get together and to discuss and organize and strategize what we do as black people in Chicago. You all don't have nothing like that in Chicago. Plenty of gangs, plenty of nightclubs, but no place where you organize to discuss building power, wealth, and influence. And I know you got it in Chicago, like we got it in Shreveport, like we had it in Dallas, New York, and everywhere else. I'm sure you got those private high-rise clubs where you can see the damn limousines pull up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And all the black folk are running around helping these white socialites out of their limousines and stuff. And they have these meetings every week or every other week where they discuss what they're going to do to hold on to their power, wealth, and influence. And we don't. And we don't. And that was supposed to be waiting for you. White folks' children didn't have to make the Masons. It was already waiting for them. They didn't have to make Skull and Bones. It was already waiting for them. They didn't have to make the Council on Foreign Relations. It was already waiting for you. Where is our organizations where we organize to build power, wealth, and influence? In the NBA, they should have a damn secret society. All those black men with millions of dollars, they should have a damn secret society in the NBA. Where all the black men get together. Super secret handshakes and hand symbols and eye winks and stuff. They should have a whole secret society. You can call it the Players Club. You can call it the Players Club. And the black males should be having it organized because Steve Ballmer strategized how he was going to get in the NBA. And the black players should have had the NBA locked down. When that team came up for sale, that should have been only available to a black man. The Clippers should have only been available to a black person. They should have made it should have been clear to Silver that, oh, the team is up for sale, but it's going to one of us. It's going to one of us. That's real talk. That's real talk. But we don't pass down institutions. The civil rights generation hated their own children. They saw their children as a burden. And so here you all are with nothing. Going up against whites and Asians and Arabs who are inheriting power and wealth that your parents said, I ain't got to do that. And now you're going out there against them to war defenseless. You're going up against tanks and helicopters and RPGs with a toothpick. That's where you're at. That's what's happening. And then they want you to show them respect for leaving you helpless like that? Get the hell out of here. So I'm very glad that he admitted to that, brother. But now that that's been admitted to, what does that do for y'all?
S-H-I-T.
Because what he's doing is he's agreeing, boy, we sure did mess y'all over. Okay, well, you're agreeing that you see my situation, but how does that help my situation? How does that help me? And the answer is it doesn't. It doesn't help you at all. So I hope that you came to see 7 a.m. and if you didn't, shame on you. Because right now, brother, it's a deadly situation in Chicago. It is a dangerous situation in Chicago for you and every other black person up there. It is outright deadly dangerous. It's outright deadly dangerous right now. And I'm so committed to Chicago that I'm actually going to make, for the people who weren't able to see it on the 17th due to the projector problems that they had at the Patio Theater in Chicago, I'm actually going to make 7 a.m. available for streaming. So they can watch it online for 48 hours. I'll be sending the link to the people who are. If you haven't gotten a refund through Brown Paper Tickets, if you were smart enough not to ask for a refund, I will be making 7 a.m. available for 48 hours only. Next weekend, probably here. Make it available for 48 hours only for you to be able to stream it yourself. And the people who you brought with you, if they didn't get to see it, you can send them the link also. I am just that committed to Chicago to make sure this gets out there because that's a deadly situation we're looking at. It is a deadly and dangerous situation that we're looking at. It's not a game. It's not a joke. At this point right now, there is, and I made this point to everybody, do you all understand that after the murders of Mike Brown, Eric Garner, Sean Bell, Oscar Grant, do you understand that there's no place in America that the police couldn't just walk into the room, gun down every black person, walk out, and who's going to punish them? Tell me, who is going to punish them? And furthermore, where is your black media to even report it? Remember, it took 3 days before the national white corporate media even said that there was anything happening in Ferguson. That was 3 days after the fires were burning. They showed you that they will ignore, that they can black it out for 72 whole hours. If they don't report it, Where's our black media to do it? Where's our black news corporation to put out the news and tell us what's happening? Where are they? If anybody doubts it, tell me where they are. So if they walked in that theater in Chicago and shot down every single black person, who would actually report that you all were dead? You don't even have anybody who would actually be able to even tell. That's how deadly the situation is right now. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, I'm just going to say I was definitely there on the 17th at the Patio Theater, but I'll be looking forward to for next weekend for the link for the online stream. So I'm in school right now. Yeah, Black First. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. I'm gone.
Well, I won't have anybody being inconvenienced and whatnot, and you all will have the link. You can watch it in the comfort and privacy of your own homes, and that's very, very important as well. For everybody who didn't get to see it on January 17th, I'm committed to making sure that is available for you, because I do want people to be able to see it and whatnot who tried to come and see it. For everybody who didn't try to come and see it, hey, you're on your own at this point. You're by yourself. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Adulthood is not for you. If the death of Eric Garner was not enough to motivate you to say that we got to do something different, adulthood is not for you. It's not for you. It's not for you. And maybe survival isn't for you either. For everybody else here, we had a phenomenal time. People are talking about it everywhere. My inbox has been blown up. We definitely made this an event. A lot of people are logging this. A lot of people are trending it. But taking a look at the situation that we're in, I expected it to be like high school football night in Texas, where everybody in Harlem and Brooklyn dropped what they were doing. Think about what that would have looked like in Dallas. Think about the effect that we had in New York when that line snaked its way all the way down to 24th. Think about the way that did there. Think about how that made people feel. Think about when they saw all those black folk lined up. And they're like, well, hell, it's not no shoes coming out. And it's none of our movies playing here. What are all those Negroes lined up for? That's the kind of thing that makes Bob McCullough and Dan Donovan and Daniel Pantaleo quake in their boots. When they see a bunch of black people gathered together for something adult and mature to talk about building our economy to come deal with you, that's the kind of thing that makes them uneasy. Makes them start shaking. Makes them start quivering. Makes them start doing double takes. Because they understand that you are now trying to initiate a serious adult conversation. That's what's going to get their attention and make them say, oh, when they see black people lined up like that, they understand it's new. These people have changed. You have woken a sleeping giant. But for everybody else, understand we moved the needle on this one. We moved the needle, and I'd like to thank everybody who participated in it. All the people who want to screen 7 a.m., I'm definitely going to make sure that it's available for you as well. And if you are interested in screening 7 a.m., you definitely want to do that as well. go ahead and contact us. You can contact us at screenings@7ammovie.com. That's screenings with a S, SCREENINGS, screenings@7ammovie.com. Brothers and sisters, it's time to wake up and be adults. White supremacy is on the march, and it is killing the children, both those who are childlike in mind, body, and spirit. They're killing the children. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, brothers and sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is already here.